You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. $87 million, the renovation here at Fifth Third Arena. Cincinnati and Ohio State get together for just the 11th time ever. First time since Prohibition. They played on campus, and it happens here at new Fifth Third Arena. You don't hear this phrase very often, but glad to be back with Dan Dockich. Jason Benetti, Dan's here. What a series to have back in college basketball.
Oh, this is absolutely awesome. 1961 and 1962, they played for national championships. Cincinnati winning both, but hey, look, this is a new building. $87 million put into this place. This is a new year. Two guys lost to the NBA for Cincinnati. One guy, Keita Bates-Diop, lost for Ohio State. This is a great rivalry historically, and it's going to be a great night as Cincinnati opens up a new building.
Two NCAA tournament teams from last year together again. Ohio State wins the tap, and here comes C.J. Jackson. What's different for Ohio State offensively this year with all those guys going?
Who's the go-to guy? You don't know. Look, Jason Tate led it by will. Keita Bates-Diop led it by skill.
Nasir Brooks got a piece of that from Luther Muhammad, and here come the Bearcats, who lost a lot as well. Gary Clark, Kyle Washington, Jacob Evans. Who's going to pick up the offensive slack in what's bound to be a pretty low-scoring game, wouldn't you think?
To quote the great Seth Greenberg, looks like it could be a rock fight. But both teams, nobody knows who their go-to guy is just yet. Ohio State starting a bunch of new guys.
Foul away from the ball. Do you gargle with rocks in order to do that Seth impersonation? Mick Cronin, now in his on the way to second decade as the Cincinnati head coach, and a game that he wanted back last year in the second round of the NCAA tournament. They're up 22, and for his team to not defensive rebound and lose a game like that was shocking.
No, the Martin brothers got him from Nevada, actually out-toughed him, and as we were talking to Mick early, or this afternoon, you know, one thing you know about Cincinnati, they're going to go after every loose ball. They're going to guard you. They're going to pick you. And if you're not tough, you're going to lose. Well, they got out-toughed by Nevada in the NCAA tournament in the last 10 minutes.
I like what you said about Mick Cronin's team. You know exactly what you're going to see, and you don't have that as much in college basketball now.
No, you know, he has a lot of 3- and 4-year guys, so a lot of guys get in his system.
Nearly turned over, and it is. Over and back. And Chris Holtmann took over for Thad Matta. Had those guys you talked about, Tate and Keita Bates-Diop. He's done very well for himself at Gardner-Webb and at Butler, and now in a big place in Ohio State.
Well, he came into a team that wasn't much expected, but once Keita Bates-Diop got healthy, that changed the entire season round. Look, truth of the matter is, Thad Matta would still be here as the head coach if Keita Bates-Diop didn't get hurt 2 years ago. But Chris Holtmann has recruited well. He's brought the right guys into his program, and they play hard as heck.
Offensive rebound for Brooks. And a little jawing going on, as you might expect in a rivalry that doesn't get played very much.
I know I misstated it to a lot of people when I said they're opening a new building. But if you've ever been here, particularly when it was a Schumacher Center, and now you're in here now, this is a totally new building.
Yeah, this is a dancing shoe, not just a shoe anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it feels almost like a hockey arena. They've made it big here in Cincinnati. Catch and shoot three is the first bucket of the game. And here comes the new sprint. Justin Jennifer gives Cincinnati its first bucket in the new digs. Caleb Wesson, so important to this team, lost the ball in the post. Muhammad wanted the extra pass. Instead, he fires. And a foul called against Andre Wesson.
Well, it's not the first bucket ever scored on this floor, but this is a completely new gym. And Jennifer just lifted up and drilled it. You know, one of the great things about a Mick Cronin team is defensively, they never give up. On that last possession, Broom went for a shot fake, didn't get it, was behind the shooter, ran back into the play, and affected the shot.
Jennifer feels good right now, and this rebound goes to the Buckeyes. That's the amazing thing, too, about the loss to Nevada is you normally don't get enough possessions against Cincinnati to come back from 22 down in the second half.
And you said it. Well, offensive and defensive rebounding, huge. Getting loose balls, huge. You know, we call it 50-50 balls, huge. Cincinnati has made a living off of that. And when they don't, they struggle, quite frankly, because they're not a great scoring team and haven't been a great scoring program.
One thing they've done well is get to the NCAA tournament, and away from the ball, we've got an offensive foul against the Buckeyes. 2 straight seasons, 30-plus wins, and they're a little bit under the radar because they're in the American, but Cincinnati is a stud of a program.
Never happened before in the history of this program, and you think, we talked about it in the opening. National champions, 61-62, Final Four, 1992. Huggins built this program into a power, but never had they won 30 games in a season in back-to-back seasons. Hey, look, Mick Cronin had a hard job. Bob Huggins left here. He left here under a shadow. There was bad blood. Mick was here. He went to Louisville, worked for the hated Rick Pitino at the time. Came back and has done an absolute great job.
Battle for the rebound. Cincinnati again not giving up on the possession. And we're going to have a foul called against Ohio State on the ensuing action, and the locals love it.
The locals may love it.
You don't?
But I don't dig it. Look, ball's on the floor. You know that everybody's going after it. All right? Now, the foul's right there is the foul on top, Andre Wesson. I just don't think that's a foul. I think that's playing basketball. If you want to give him a timeout, fine. If you want to give him a jump ball, fine. But I don't think that's a foul.
So on Mick Cronin, his first year, he goes 11-19. You talk about ratcheting up the pressure. That included a loss to Ohio State in a game that he described as being set up for when he first got here. Absolutely lethal defense from Scott on the run out. So
Tell you
Scott
what,
and Brooks together.
You cannot long jump on layups against Cincinnati. They are going to block it.
What do you mean long jump?
You jump from point A forward to point B. You have to high jump. You have to stop, gather, and jump and put 2 hands on the backboard. Like you're going to see right here, he takes off. There's 2 guys. Now he's going forward. This is a long jump. Look how low the ball is. It's under the backboard from Andre Wesson. That's going to get blocked every time by a Cincinnati player. You have to get in there, gather yourself, get low, get them off their feet, and high jump with 2 hands on the backboard if you're going to finish against Cincinnati.
Jennifer got hit in the face, so the officials are going to go to the monitor. Terry Oglesby, Keith Kimball, Bill Eck. Looking for an elbow sweeping through, and how big of a hit, if any, on Jennifer. Is it excessive contact?
I think it's a left elbow. Let's see, right there. That's the one that gets him. The right elbow swings, but it's not what hit him. I would say absolutely is not. Like the ball is kept high, so he didn't bring it down into the defensive player. The defensive player is into the offensive player. I would just say play on.
Take a look as we zoom in. There certainly is contact.
Left elbow, no question. This place is crazy.
It absolutely is.
Crazy.
And you imagine, we didn't get a chance to come here in the Nick Van Exel days, the Kenyon Martin days, but you imagine this is similar to what it was back then.
In '92, when they went to the Final Four, Van Exel was coming off the bench. Herb Jones was a forward. They had a really good team. And we came in here with Indiana. I was an assistant coach and beat them handily. We were really good. We went to the Final Four same year. But by the end of the year, I came here to scout, and this place was nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
See what the call is. Again, we're looking for excessive and or unnecessary contact. Was it a legitimate play on the ball? no hold or push from behind in this case, so what's the word?
Common foul. They were looking for a flagrant. They felt like what I just said. He went over the top, there was no certainly intent.
It's on Woods, the Wake Forest transfer, who's so important to this team because of his ability to play multiple positions.
Yeah, and shoot the basketball. He's a good shooter. He's not a great shooter, but he's a good shooter. And really, for Ohio State, the two guys that can shoot are C.J. Jackson and Woods.
As Ohio State tries to replace the point guard minutes of one Andrew Dockich. Rebound for Caleb Wesson. Andre on the bench with 2 fouls. Buckeyes looking for their first points of the year. They want Wesson to shoot more. This one was out of system and a great save by Jennifer and the Bearcats.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Jennifer held off Muhammad and went and tipped it. That's Cincinnati hustle right there. You got it. This is awesome. Shots up, block out, staying with it, tips it out with his left hand, then the hustle to jump the recognition to get it back. Dangerous throwing it under your own backboard, but Jennifer saw his man there.
That's a dude from Baltimore, Justin Jennifer, who got profiled by the Washington Post at age 10. He's had so much focus on him for so long, and now he gets to be one of the dudes for the Cincinnati team.
He's got a real chance because they need him. They need him on both ends. Ball has to go in the middle, and you got to look down. Right now, too much matchup. And by that, I mean, watch the defender against the offensive player. The defender is squared up to the offensive player. Good zone play, which is what Cincinnati's in, doesn't allow that. Good zone offensive player gets the offensive players in between the two defenders, in the gaps. Right there, in the gap. Something good happens. There it is.
Jackson the find, it drew iron, and the tip is there. Downstairs for Wesson off the miss from Woods.
And that play was made by C.J. Jackson getting into the gaps. You cannot let a zone defense match up man-to-man.
First meeting on campus since 1920 between Ohio State and Cincinnati. Jennifer turned away and a travel called. First time out, low scorer in Ohio, Cincinnati 3-2.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the magic of Walt Disney World Resort Hotels and Sonic. Hurry in for the quarter-pound double-stack cheeseburger plus tots for only $2.99.
One of the best players in Bearcat history, Kenyon Martin, is here for the reopening of Fifth Third Arena, and he was a major factor. Had he not broken his leg in the year 2000, they could have won a national championship, and he christened the building. Ceremonial first shot, he went up and dunked it.
Yeah, how cool is that? Then he dropped a salute on everybody. He came out of Texas. I remember seeing him in an AAU event in Solon, Ohio, and the thing that I'll never forget, little Jim, Huggins was there, guys, he played so hard.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, like a lot of kids don't understand how to play hard. Playing hard was never an issue with Kenyon Martin. Now, shooting, whatever you want to do, skill-wise, that's fine, but not playing hard. That dude would get after it, and he was tough, mean, and great.
You can see just by his facial expressions, we've been watching him periodically before the game, how much this game means to him just to be here. Teams are a combined 2 for 15 to open the game. We expect more offense Friday on ESPN 7 Eastern, the 7th annual Armed Forces Classic honoring America's heroes. Arkansas and Texas, Fort Bliss Military Base in El Paso, and like everything else, you can watch it live on the ESPN app from anywhere. What a great story Andrew Jones is, by the way, Texas.
He is. He played the last night, got 9 minutes, battled leukemia. I'll tell you this, I think Texas is going to be better without Mo Bamba. I like the song Mo Bamba. It's a great song.
Richie Valens did not do
No, it's a new one.
Downstairs, and Brooks couldn't put it in, and Wesson has been huge so far for the Buckeyes.
I think you got to get the ball into Wesson on the block. Man-to-man right here, he's got to get a touch.
He's down there with Nasir Brooks, the junior out of Philly. Washington, the freshman. Woods, the transfer. And Wesson comes up with a rebound for the Buckeyes.
I'm still getting him the ball. Ohio State does not look comfortable. To get comfortable, you go inside out, or you fake one dribble pull up from Woods.
See that? He could be, as you said, He could be the difference, though, offensively for them, don't you think?
Absolutely. He's a 12-point-a-game scorer, over 1,000 points at Wake Forest. You bring him into your program. Look, Ohio State's got a lot of wing guys, but they don't have a lot of shooters. He's one of them.
It's not easy to be the North Carolina Player of the Year, and that's what Woods was in 2014 as this foul goes against Brooks. His first, remember what Mick Cronin told us about guys like Brooks and Cumberland, that when you're not coming off the bench, when you're starting, those early fouls have different importance.
Yeah, and Cumberland now has to sit, and he's their guy. You know, preseason all-conference, maybe Player of the Year candidate. He's their guy. So you've got to understand that. Not that you don't play defense, it's just that you do things right. You don't slide on screens, you don't reach.
Musa Jallow playing for Ohio State to the corner. Washington fills it up, and Ohio State builds.
Washington is the one guy that can go get his shot, isn't afraid to go get his shot, fearless going to the rim. Muhammad, more of a defensive guy as a freshman. Washington, more of a scorer.
Catch and shoot up top. The answer for Kane Broome, the former Northeast Conference Player of the Year.
23 a night at Sacred Heart.
Do that anywhere, right?
Oh, Division I, 23 a night?
What was your highest scoring average?
In college?
Anywhere.
25.
Where was that?
High school.
Parking lot? Washington got his defender in the ear, and the rebound for Cincinnati. Fredericks.
Washington needed to drive that. Got the guy up, needed to go.
Moore the miss. Rebound for the Buckeyes. One and done, Cincinnati. Just the 11th meeting all time. Wesson triggers another. That's a concerted effort, though, this year, Dan, by the Buckeyes to get more jump shots for Wesson. Make that more part of his game. You like it?
No.
Why not?
Yet. I don't. The first one he took, he was 4 for 14 last year. I know he's worked on it. I know he's trimmed his body down. But in this game, I think if he gets it off of ball reversal, if he gets it through the offense, and fine. That was a one-pass three, and the first one he took was a running into it in transition three. You can always get those when you're Caleb Wesson size. Let the offense run, then look for your three if you're out there.
Your kid's a grad assistant here. Why don't you tell him?
He tells me now. I think he invented the game.
Proud papa, Dan Dockich. The miss from Cumberland. Second chance. Pried away by the Buckeyes. And Jallow.
Boy, that was big by Jallow. Jallow really worked on his body. You can see in the offseason. Wow.
Muhammad on the other end looking for his shot.
That's not who he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be a defender, a driver, a tough guy that is total team. That was big time.
Wise beyond his years, though, is the book on him, right?
Yeah, you know, he's a guy that really...
Oh, Jennifer had it pounded. Jallow.
Hey, Jallo's made an impact with toughness. Once grabbing the ball on a rebound, and once coming to weak side and pinning it.
Muhammad off the dribble this time, and he missed it long. Coming up next, we will show you those championship games that Dan was telling you about, and some insight from Mr. Dockich, too. About the motion offense. And
Bob Knight runs motion.
(10-6) Ohio State over Cincinnati, and when these two got together in the early 60s, it was for everything.
Ohio State had great names, Jerry Lucas, John Havlicek, and had won the 1960 national championship. Then 61 and 62, Cincinnati came back and won. You see Jerry Lucas there, number 11. Cincinnati did not have Oscar Robertson. A lot of people think that the Big O played on those championship teams. He did not.
They had Paul Hogue, though.
Paul Hogue was great, player of the tournament. They had Tom Thacker. They had Tony Yates, who came back here and coached. They had great players, but Ohio State, Jerry Lucas is maybe the all-time greatest player in the state of Ohio. You can make the argument John Havlicek, Siegfried, Coach Knight was on that team. Heck of a team.
And Coach Knight, some of his systematic way of seeing basketball came from those games, right?
It did. You learn how not to do things. And Coach Knight started a motion offense because he didn't like the way he was coached by Fred Taylor. With Fred Taylor, you only ran down one side of the court and stayed on that side of the court. So Coach Knight wanted to teach players to move all over the court. And Coach Knight also, because he felt like he didn't play enough and wasn't rewarded, he always played guys, if you didn't play hard, you sat. So he would start different lineups based on his dissatisfaction with his playing time in college.
Boy, the depth of your knowledge this year is more significant than last year.
I lost weight and cut my hair.
Still a great need for hairspray in the hotel lobby. 5 to shoot. Woods off the pivot.
Yeah, all matched up. Bad possession.
Muhammad off the window. No, but Jallo's here.
Jallo went right past Jennifer and gets a tip in. Jallo has been terrific in this game.
After a rough go of it in the exhibition for Ohio State.
Has been a walking turnover. It really hasn't played nearly as he has worked. He's worked really hard. And good to see him get rewarded by just being tough.
Where's Cincinnati got to go offensively? A 2 for 15.
Right here, and it's got to be driven, not settled. That's a settle.
Cumberland, step back, no dice. And a foul against Ohio State. Here's the follow on the other end.
Yeah, Musa Jallo is one of those kids. He's right here. He's just one of those kids. You can't define his game, but it has to be about toughness. So you're going to see Jennifer turns his head. Jallo goes to the backboard, and literally nobody from Cincinnati is there. Turn your head, don't block out. A good athlete that's tough is going to take advantage of it.
Solid minutes.
Terrific minutes.
So Keith Williams, a sophomore, born and raised in Brooklyn, for a 1-and-1 off the 7th foul against the Buckeyes, the first on Muhammad. Cincinnati picked second in the preseason poll in the American Conference to Taco Fall and UCF.
Well, I'm rooting for a kid, Aubrey Dawkins, Johnny Dawkins, his son. Aubrey started at Michigan, then he transferred to play with his dad at UCF, and all he's been is hurt. 2 straight years of just hurt. So I'm rooting for these. These are one of the nice kids, and Johnny, one of the great guys in college hoops.
2 for 2 for Williams.
Williams averaged 11 on the trip to Canada this summer. He's a kid that's certainly capable.
Wesson pops out high-low for Young, and he misfired. A tip-off your weekend, NBA Friday on ESPN. Gordon Hayward goes back to Utah with the Celtics and Brad Stevens, 9:30 Eastern. You can watch it on the ESPN app. You think Duke could beat both those teams? How about that show last night? Dude.
Duke was incredible.
When those kids become juniors and seniors, boy, Duke's going to be.
Yeah. When they become juniors and seniors and they're worth $100 million each, I hope they give back to the institution.
Top 10. What does it look like next week, you think?
It doesn't look like that because the number 4 team is going to be number 1. Number 1 is going to be number 2. Number 3 is going to stay the same. Number 2 is going to go to about 10. I expect Virginia to move up, but man, oh man, if there's any question at this point, one day in, who's the best team, it was answered last night.
Yeah, but Kentucky's not a bad team.
Kentucky's really good. And they looked rattled. They looked like a JV team. Got to look inside, missed them.
There's the feed. Wesson turns and scores.
Yeah, he was working too. Hey, Jason, he was working. I thought Muhammad missed him, turned his head real quick. And good for Wesson that his teammate Woods looked right inside and got it to him. No movement.
Nothing. Brooks pops out to screen. Williams on the deck, right into Young, and a foul called. On the drive, it goes against Cincinnati.
That was a great, not a good play, a great play by Woods. Woods switched to the big. Now he leaves the big, comes over and takes the charge. That is a great veteran play. See, he was going to take 33, but instead of staying with him, he read the play and moved over and got outside the arc. That is a great defensive play by Woods.
He's played a lot of basketball, transferred from Charlotte to Wake Forest, and now 1 year with Ohio State.
Got to go in again.
He is really working hard. Wesson lost the ball.
That's just lazy.
And the save by Scott. We've got a tie-up. It's going to go to Ohio State with 4 on the clock.
Reason I say that's lazy, it's actually the wrong word. The word was too cute. Wesson was trying to slip a little pass. There's no slipping little passes against Cincinnati because they guard the basket first.
That's a headline in the scouting report if you're any opposing team of how Cincinnati does what they do defensively. Right?
What'd I say?
No, I was saying that's the headline. You're right. I was agreeing with you. Be careful. That does not draw iron, neither does that. And they did reset the shot clock. There's going to be a shot clock violation. I was actually being agreeable with you. I was saying you were right. I know people don't say that very often.
Never.
Dan, you were right. Can it? Put it in a jar. About the way Cincinnati plays defense.
Don't be cute. He never. That guy never thinks I'm right, but he's got a nice suit. Really nice suit. We had to dress him up because he's used to sweats and whatever gear he's been given.
A child of basketball. Andrew Dockich, GA, over on the Ohio State sideline, taken after dad in all the good ways. Broom delivers down low. Reverse is there. Keith Williams snuck it.
Keith Williams back cut. He back cut Muhammad. Muhammad turned his head and was watching the ball. And Keith Williams, who's a scorer, has a mentality to score, slipped behind him. Great play by Williams.
Cincinnati will get in your pocket defensively. They switch. Wood to the corner, 5 to shoot. Fade away over Williams.
He told everybody to be quiet. He gave him the shush. That's why he was brought here. He's a different guy.
Response wouldn't go down, and it's out of bounds to the Buckeyes.
You got to see man and ball. You can't just look at the basketball. And if you do, Cincinnati and Ohio State, you're going to see right here, Luther Muhammad is guarding a man right here. All right? He's going to fake at the ball. Good, but he loses sight of his man. Here comes the back cut. And Williams lays it in. See man and ball. Both teams are excited. Both teams guard. Both teams are tough. Difference in this game so far is this. Points in the paint, 6 of them for Ohio State. Couple off of no blockout, which will make Cincinnati coach Mick Cronin absolutely nuts. But if Ohio State's going to win the game, got to be a steady diet of that right there. Caleb Wesson on the block. Spread it, throw it to him. He's dynamite. 6-2 right now, points in the paint.
This series is back in the regular season on a campus for the first time in about 100 years. And for Chris Holtmann and Mick Cronin, part of the reason you do it, at least for Ohio State, is you get a quality opponent. It's not only for the civic duty to the state. This is a game that could be important for both teams as you head to March.
Well, you're playing an NCAA team. And as Mick Cronin, or as Chris Holtmann told us this afternoon, look, if Cincinnati hadn't been in the tournament the last 8 years, we wouldn't be here. Big time. That kid right there, Woods, I'm going to tell you why he's so good next.
In 30 seconds.
Keyshawn Woods transferred from Wake Forest. You see Gastonia, North Carolina. Who's from Gastonia, North Carolina? James Worthy. Now, reason he's so good, he plays basketball with his head up. He does not have his head down. His head, like right here, he comes back for the basketball. He's always looking at the next play. If you can look for the next play consistently, you're a good basketball player. Woods does it on both ends. Always his head up.
Eight to shoot for Ohio State. Here is Woods on the post feed for Young. And that's going to be basket interference against Cincinnati, so Ohio State by 8.
Well, that's pretty nice. That was really nice. Woods has made 2 nice post feeds. Here you're going to see he comes out. He's always looking for the next thing. Terrific entry pass.
So what does that do for your team?
It helps everybody on the team. It helps defensively because he knows where the basketball is, knows where to rotate, sees the next play. It helps offensively because we've already seen he's a terrific shooter, scorer, but he really knows how to get the ball into the post because he looks at the proper angle.
Over the shoulder for 2, and Brooks.
That's a mismatch. Brooks against Young. Big time mismatch. Got to keep going.
Brooks trying to take up the slack for Gary Clark now with the Rockets. Wesson with 2 fouls. Late shot clock again for Ohio State. All Woods, 3 to shoot. Got to pull the trigger, had it blocked by Williams, who's been very active defensively.
This is great defense. Shot clock goes off. Great block. Fans think you should be able to go, but they ruled that the ball was loose. So it's a shot clock violation, but great defense by Cincinnati.
That is the proper call. So no break for the Bearcats. Broom, the refeed. Scott to the corner. Williams, second chance. Third chance, no. Scott goes up and can't finish.
Man. Undersized Ohio State. Woods made a great play to save the initial bucket, but you look at Ohio State, tallest guy right now is Kyle Young at 6'7".
Here comes Wesson. Caleb Wesson back in. Young's coming out. Early returns are this series should be longer than 2 years.
Well, next year they'll open it up at Ohio State. This is a great series. I would love to see Ohio State, Dayton, Xavier, Cincinnati getting a little 4-team deal, maybe in Columbus, or like the great Bart Fox, our director, our producer, said, maybe in Cleveland.
Like they do in Iowa and other states as well. Indiana.
That one's great. I wish we still had that on our airways. That's Notre Dame, Purdue, Butler, and IU, and that is fantastic downtown Indy.
You getting into programming too while we're at it? Good to be back with you, Dan.
I wish I had my Cubs tie.
A pleasure. Kane Broom for Williams. Catch and shoot. No. And it's going to be a foul on the rebound against Cincinnati. And more.
Man, C.J. Jackson is a terrific athlete. It's one thing to jump and go for a rebound. It's another thing to jump and attack the ball for the rebound, and that's what C.J. Jackson just did there. He went and attacked the last 3 feet of it, thus drawing the foul from an aggressive offensive rebound.
Best you ever saw at attacking a rebound is who?
For me, personally, Moses Malone. I never saw anybody go at the ball on the offensive backboard like Moses Malone. On the defensive backboard, this is going to go way, way back. But Nate Thurman was incredible going after a rebound. Yeah, nothing cute. Just go at him. Make her miss. You go at him.
Jennifer into the post. The crowd rose expecting a dunk, and Scott will get free throws for his trouble.
You know, 2 guys run into each other. Wesson doesn't quite get back to the rim, and if you're going to foul, foul. Don't touch, foul.
Even with that being the second foul against Wesson?
Either don't, then don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd rather have him out there, but if you are going to put yourself in that position, then you can't give up a 3-point play.
Trey Scott makes the first free throw. In love with Mick Cronin told us about him. He says he could be the mayor of Cincinnati one day. He's such a smart kid.
He's going to graduate in December. Going to have a Masters, has another year. We'll have a Masters done a year and a half. This is a tremendous kid.
Under 5 to go, first half. The sparkling new Fifth Third Arena in Cincinnati. Jackson scoreless on the attack, put it on the rim and couldn't finish.
Well, they missed an obvious goaltend right there. Ball was hit on the way down from Jackson's move. Got to go inside if you're Cincinnati.
Brooks pops out to screen in the high post. Now Moore with 8 to shoot. Didn't get it to Brooks. Scott has to chuck it up. Now Brooks ends up with the ball off the rebound. Williams left it short. Crowd wanted a foul and they get it now.
Man, Cincinnati attacks the backcourt. When the ball's driven from one side, 2 guys move to the other side to go rebound. It's great.
This is a goaltend on the other end. Let's find out. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Scott back to the line. He's got a 1-and-1. Redshirt junior out of the state of Georgia. Cincinnati, Mick Cronin was telling us, in order to get him into that Masters program, he's got a test coming in the next week or so in order to place into that, and they actually moved their off day practice-wise just for him.
That's a little bit what irritates me, why people don't think coaches care.
Yeah.
And coaches do that all the time. Crowd back in, Jason.
Floater, no. Rebound for Cincinnati. Jennifer wanted to spring into it. And he has to whip it back out. Williams, little jostling, left it way short. And this going the other way does not count. So Mick Cronin, perennial NCAA coach, says he's going to try and tone it down this year. Looks like no.
Please.
Coming up on the E-Trade Halftime Report, Dallin Cuff and I will talk about Duke and Kansas's wins last night and who else stood out in their season debut.
A little more shot making we saw last night that's going on right now. Both these teams, though, playing with incredible toughness and togetherness, especially Ohio State going on the road, a tough environment. But we do have the perfect guys on the call.
We do.
The game's not that great right now. Benetti and Dockish, it'll be more entertaining. You guys always good for a couple laughs.
A couple?
Short
what about a boatload?
Hey, how about Molly McGrath got married in the offseason?
Congratulations to Molly.
Yeah, she works with us on Tuesday night. She is awesome.
What about Dallin? He awesome too, or what?
I think he is. Yeah. Did he compliment us or did he criticize us?
He undersold us.
There you go.
Yeah, which is inappropriate, and we would appreciate him being evicted from the studio. He's right, though. Shot making has been non-existent. 12 for 50 so far combined in this game.
I don't think each coach thought it was going to be that bad, but I think each coach anticipated a game like this.
Yeah, but give the defense some credit, right?
A ton of credit. I don't like the offense of Ohio State to start possessions. It gets stagnant at the end as well. That's a good one here.
Young slips in, and the foul called as Brooks hung on the rim.
Here's why that was a good possession. What has happened is in these possessions for Ohio State, they have kind of started stagnant against what they think is a zone. Then they move a little bit, and then they stop the possession, and we've seen some block shots late in the possession. That time, they kept it moving through the entire 30 seconds and found an open man to get some free throws.
We asked Chris Holtman before the game, how does this team connect? How do they mesh? And he was honest. He said, I don't know yet, with all we lost.
And Ohio State doesn't either. You know, when you lose 2 NBA guys like you did for Mick, And then you lose a guy like Jayshawn Tate, a 4-year guy, and the player of the year in the conference in Keita Bates-Diop. You have no idea until you get in these kind of games. That's why it's terrific, each team playing this game.
Jennifer had the first bucket, been quiet since. Moore up top. And Broom couldn't hit. Foul going against Cincinnati on the rebound. What'd you say about Ohio State's shoot-around without Jayshawn Tate?
It's quiet. Very, very quiet. Jayshawn Tate stayed at my house with my son this summer, and we had a blast. And it was just every day something lively. And Andrew and Jayshawn became good friends in the year, but everybody became good friends with Jayshawn or becomes good friends with Jayshawn because he's got that kind of personality. And it's interesting, this team is playing in the game with more personality than they showed in practice today.
That's interesting. How do you think that happens?
I think that when you're in practice and you're a young team, sometimes you rely on the coaches to tell you, and then when you get in a game, you're balling. And when you're well coached, like both of these teams are, you know what to do. It's just a matter of getting comfortable and doing it. And you're seeing both teams not shooting it, but playing hard and playing well, just not scoring.
Scott collapsed. Travel call. Friday, ESPN, 7 Eastern. 7th annual Armed Forces Classic. Always fun. Honoring America's heroes. Arkansas and Texas from El Paso, Fort Bliss Military Base. You can watch it live on the ESPN app as well.
Don't forget about Daniel Gafford, man. Daniel Gafford is a pro for Arkansas. 6'11", preseason All-SEC.
That's old Southwest Conference stuff now.
That's Darryl Royal against Frank Broyles. Everybody talking.
There's a reach in against Jennifer.
I like what C.J. Jackson
Save the impersonations, okay? You can save that for the people who do it for real.
I like what C.J. Jackson's doing, though. Last 3 times he's gotten the basketball, he's driven it. Hasn't had anything good happen except for last possession of foul, but I like him taking it to the rim.
First one is good. Ohio State shooting the heck out of the free throws right now at 5 for 5.
I think there are 3 point guards in the Big Ten that are going to have big years. This is one, C.J. Jackson. I think Devontae Green at Indiana is going to have a fantastic year. And I won't be surprised. He had a double-double last night. I won't be surprised if Cassius Winston isn't a contender for Player of the Year in the Big Ten, certainly first team All-Big Ten. I think those 3 guys are going to have monster years.
You don't think Carson Edwards is a runaway?
I don't think he'll end up being the runaway. No, he had 30 last night. And I think he'll lead the league in scoring, and I think he'll be a first-team all-league guy. But I wouldn't be surprised if Winston doesn't challenge him for Player of the Year.
I miss being with you in the offseason. You call me every once in a while and talk smack about baseball, but it's so good to have basketball back. And this series especially. We're going to be back here for Cincinnati Xavier. But these folks here are loving this series, eh?
They're loving this series because there's history to it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. There's student sections, and then there's the older folks section, and they remember Paul Hogue. They remember Tom Thacker. They remember Tony Yates as a player. And there's a lot of Ohio State people here. Everybody in the state knows John Havlicek. Everybody in the state knows Jerry Lucas from Middletown, Ohio. Everybody knows that. But so you've got a great combination of a natural rivalry that goes really, really deep.
They should play one of these in the Armory here on campus, the old Big O facility.
They just spent $87 million. Let them play a game here before you have it going somewhere else.
There's a combative guy I missed. 2 free throws coming for Broom and Cincinnati. It's on Jackson, his first.
Minute 50 to go. 9-point lead. You're at the free throw line for Cincinnati. This is a monster 2 minutes for both teams. Monster. The last 2 minutes of the first half dictate much of the second half. And for Ohio State,
You really believe that?
I think it's, yes, one to my soul in basketball. Because I know we all talk about the first 5 minutes of the second half, but if Ohio State can maintain or increase a 7-point lead going in, that is huge. And for Cincinnati, you got cut into this before the half.
It's 7. Those 2 free throws break a 6-0 run for the Buckeyes. Washington on the floor, the freshman along with Young, C.J. Jackson.
This going up.
Yeah, it is. For 3 for Jackson.
He was sizing him up, and that C.J. Jackson shot top of the key on a little rocker step.
Ten-point game. Jennifer the lob. Out top, extra feed to the corner. Young the challenge and a foul called. Fredericks driving, and here's Jackson.
There are certain guys you just know when it's their time to shoot. And C.J. Jackson set this up with some drives. You see being played off. He's looking. The hand up doesn't act as anything other than the sight of a gun. The hand up there did nothing. You have to be way into him with your hand to affect the ball coming from his knees to his shooting pocket.
Fredericks, the JUCO transfer out of the Virgin Islands with the miss. Still looking for his first point. Logan Johnson, the freshman, back in for Cincinnati.
I'm going to tell you before we go to break how Cincinnati's going to get back in this and what Ohio State has to do to stop it, because they've made a mistake, Ohio State has, 3 or 4 times, and they've gotten away with it. And that mistake...
Why don't you just tell us now? We have time.
All right. That mistake is they've left Broome without necessarily needing to, and if they do that in the second half, Broome is going to have a massive second half.
Oh, he's a major scorer.
Major score, 23 a night. He's had 2 go in and out. You cannot leave him if you're Ohio State in the second half.
Jackson, bounce feed, Jallo met by Johnson.
Jallo thought he had a dunk shot, and Johnson came over and pinned it.
He wanted the shot on the other end and declined. Here is Broome against the freshman Muhammad. He had it pancaked out of bounds. Cincinnati will keep 11 to shoot.
This is a game-changing type thing. This is a momentum in the halftime if he dunks it. But no, Johnson reacts to it, pins it. Now you've got a chance, instead of it being an 11-point game and you're reeling, now you got a chance to cut into this and make it a 6-point game if you bang in a 3.
Second opportunity turns into a travel. Eliel Soseme, the sophomore out of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, says, my bad. "21 seconds to go. What's this possession look like?"
This possession, number 1, has to be handle the basketball. There can be no turnover. If you get a shot clock violation, so what? That's number 1.
How are you going to get a shot clock violation?
A game clock violation. I'm sorry. End of the game, end of the half violation. That's cool. Now, end of it, I'm going to this kid right here with a ball screen and letting him drive it down the lane and figuring it out. Right here it comes.
Jackson with 4. Jackson unloads. No. And Ohio State willing to go into the half up by 9.
Hey, for Ohio State, it's as good as you can hope at the end of the game if you don't knock in a shot. Just shoot it. It's over. No chance for a break.
Hey, fun game in the opener here, huh?
Really fun game in an incredible environment, even though nobody's shooting the basketball well.
13 out of 54.
That's not good.
No, let's go to the studio. Molly McGrath, Dallin Cup, they've got it for you. Loads of laughs. Welcome back to the brand new Fifth Third Arena here in Cincinnati. Ohio State leading 27-18. Cincinnati shot 14% in the first half. Jason Benetti, the very lovable Dan Dockich. That's a different guy. First half, what do you think of Ohio State's defense?
I think pretty good. I think Ohio State, with a smaller lineup, has been able to battle. 10 offensive rebounds. Now you're going to have to get that under control. 2 things in this half. One, they've got to stay with Broom. I said it before the end of the half. I can see him going off, couple in and out. And the second thing, and this is not going to be easy, they've got to get on the defensive back towards Ohio State, because it's going to lead to a lot of free throws for Cincinnati if they don't.
10 offensive rebounds for Cincinnati in the first half. Typically, that will lead to more points than they got.
Yeah, more points because of fouls. Now, the shooting has been so atrocious, as you just saw. They've gotten away with it. But look, Cincinnati is going nowhere. Cincinnati's going to ratchet up the pressure, harder switches, and I think Cincinnati's going to push the basketball a little bit more. They've got to get Cumberland going. He's all league and hasn't done a thing.
2 fouls in the first half were a problem for him, but you can feel the volatility that's possible for this crowd in a hardy basketball state with these two teams who are just meeting for the 11th time.
This place is wanting to explode. I mean, whether it's going to be off of a dunk, whether it's going to be a Broom 3, maybe 3 stops in a row, doesn't matter. This place is wanting to win this game for Cincinnati.
Bearcat basketball out of halftime. Wesson with 2 fouls on the defense, and Brooks puts it in early.
Boy, that was nice by Mick Cronin. Setting up Brooks, spreading the floor, going at the 2 fouls.
Young with Scott all over him, 13 to shoot. Muhammad, the freshman, sinks the jumper for 2.
Man, you wonder, Jayshawn Tate not here, Bates Diop not here. Who's going to make a shot on the road in a big environment? You just got an answer right there, and that's huge in basketball.
Hey, we heard defense first from Muhammad, but he has not looked that part. Cumberland's first bucket comes more than a minute into the second half.
Yeah, good defense, but Cumberland made a great move. Just lifted up, knocked it in. Didn't settle for a jumper.
Mick Cronin wondered how these former reserves would settle into a starting role as Muhammad sticks another. Wow.
Jersey City, New Jersey, where you got to drive the ball. You're not a jump shooter if you're out of Jersey City, and he just took it to the lane and made it look easy.
Where are you from if you're a jump shooter?
Newcastle, Indiana. Hickory.
Uh-huh. Late shot clock already. Scott wanted the post feed. And he got cavalier with the ball. Here comes Jackson. Inside, Wesson was hog-tied.
Luther Muhammad was recruited by Cincinnati, and Cincinnati backed off, and Luther Muhammad has been fantastic. First 2 buckets of the second half. First one on a step back. Now this is what he's more comfortable doing, driving it, getting in the lane. This is a freshman stepping up big time.
Mick Cronin was very complimentary pregame of Luther Muhammad.
And his family.
Yeah.
Just a great family in Cleveland. They really wanted him. Ended up at Ohio State. A good set.
Wesson had it punched away. Recovery by Cumberland. Can Cincinnati get an easy bucket? The answer is no. Out of bounds, going to stay with Cincinnati.
Boy, that's a big time play right there by Fredericks.
What do you think? Ooh.
Just in that, it looked like maybe off of Fredericks, but
Kane Broom, errant pass. Jennifer off the redirect. Hit backboard first, and a second chance again for Cincinnati.
Yeah, twice Fredericks has beaten Kyle Young. Kyle Young's turning, looking, and Fredericks just sprinting to the backboard.
Jennifer a jump feed. Fredericks from the corner. And this foul is going to go against Fredericks.
Kyle Young was going to do anything but get beat to a third offensive rebound. Frederick knew it was short. Kyle Young could have relaxed. He didn't, because I'm telling you, he knew. You get beat to a third one, you may never play again.
Not in this game.
No.
Like for the rest of the
Maybe
year.
ever.
Yeah. Wesson into Brooks. Beautifully done.
Wow, first time he's gone to his right shoulder. Brooks made a nice play taking away Wesson's left shoulder, but Wesson just reacted. Looked like his dad, Keith Wesson, former Ohio State great. Can't foul.
Didn't foul. Andre Wesson up ahead, and Muhammad got side-swiped.
Well, Caleb Wesson is the best player on the court. You're going to take away his left shoulder because that's what the scouting report says. You see on his left, but Wesson spins a little Chris Webber, nice, to his right shoulder, keeps his chin up on the rim to get the ball over the front of the iron. So many guys, when they turn, you see the Wesson brothers there.
Andre has said before, Caleb's been bigger than me for a long, long time. I don't worry about who's more productive or anything like that. You just kind of grow up dealing with it.
Oh, yeah, and Andre Wesson's a winning guy. I mean, you're seeing out here, he's battling Cumberland. But Caleb Wesson, really well taught by his dad to spin with your head up. So many guys spin and drop their head. Caleb Wesson's fantastic at finding the rim, no matter what he's doing or no matter what a defender is doing to him.
Largest lead in the game for Ohio State, the current 12. Cumberland step back, no good. No foul, no travel, no nothing except booze all over the new Fifth Third Arena. Wesson, no look to Young, who couldn't finish, but he'll get 2 shots when we come back.
That was great offense. Ball went into Wesson. Young didn't stand, he cut, and Wesson, remember first half he was cute? He was solid there. You go to the line when you're solid.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the DQ Hungry Up deal. Strips, fries, and a mini Blizzard treat starting at $4.
When a team pressures you and covers you and gets all over you on the perimeter, the way to neutralize it is inside. Caleb Wesson has been absolutely terrific, whether it's been on direct feeds, offensive glass, or spinning to his opposite shoulder with his head up. He has been the difference in the second half for Ohio State. You know, Jason, Cincinnati pressures you, and that's great, but if you can break the pressure, not for a layup, just to get into offense and then find a willing big, you've got offense and good offense.
Well, that's the problem so often is the find of the willing big, because he's willing.
He's begging. You know, early in the game, Caleb Wesson shot 2 threes. You haven't seen him really stand out there at all now. They understand, look, to win this game, it's on the block with him. Maybe another game he can step, pick, and pop, but not this one. He's got to go down on the block and do work.
Young 1 for 2. 13, the largest lead for the Buckeyes, who've got the last 6 in the game.
No shots second half for Broom.
Here he is, Broom. Got clipped on the shot, and here come the Buckeyes. Rough night for Kane Broom, the former Northeast Conference leading scorer. This is good for Wesson.
Man, I thought he was going to wait till his brother got the mismatch on the block. He had the mismatch on the perimeter and just drilled it.
I think that's what he was trying to bait them into thinking.
Yes, and he did. He baited me. I thought Caleb was coming down into the post, and Andre, his brother, was going to find him. Watch, here comes Caleb. You're going to see him come into the screen. No. 3. Joey Lane on the guitar, people. Free Joey Lane.
So you're going to watch Timberwolves Lakers, and after the buzzer on ESPN, then SportsCenter. Stan and Neil have it for you. LeBron's reaction. Rams after their first loss. And the question I want to pose to Dan Dockich, NFL expert, is what's behind the NFL's offensive explosion? Sports Center after the NBA. ESPN and the ESPN. I'm done now. You can answer.
Run pass options, no fear. Nobody's afraid. Quarterbacks aren't afraid of getting clocked. Wide receivers aren't afraid of getting hit.
Oh, what a challenge by Caleb Wesson at the rim.
That was a great defensive play. Caleb Wesson got all ball.
Should have started your thought earlier. You could have finished.
Nah, it's not that interesting.
Ohio State by 16 suddenly. Muhammad. Boy, he's really feeling his own.
Yeah, but he didn't need to feel that one. That's a bad shot. There is no heat check with a freshman that isn't a known shooter.
Scott knocks it down.
Good penetration. Shrunk the defense. Guys came figuring Scott's really not going to shoot it. 0 for 1 all year last year, shooting threes.
How will Ohio State, without Tate Bates-Diop et al., repel a run on the road? Andre Wesson, 4-3.
What a great play by Wesson and C.J. Jackson. C.J. Jackson stopped, shot faked, drew the defense, kicked it to Wesson, who shot faked his way into a wide open step-up three.
Foul downstairs. Andre and Caleb Wesson have owned this game.
Yeah, how about this block with 2 fouls? He just goes straight up, gets the ball first, maybe a little body, but when you get the ball, it doesn't matter. Watch this little shot fake, slide to the side, clear himself. Fantastic. Well-schooled, these two kids. Really well-schooled.
You mentioned Dad Keefe, 83-87 at Ohio State. Andre just picked up his 3rd foul.
I played against Keith. Keith was a load.
Yeah.
Oh, he was tough.
Cumberland flying for 2.
Cumberland looked like it was kind of a no-look shot. He kind of jumped to the side.
You talk about tough shots.
Yeah.
He's got a boat full tonight.
Yeah, Andre Wesson's done a great job against him. Nope.
Jackson early in the shot clock. Rebound Cincinnati. Cumberland. This is out of bounds off of Ohio State was the initial call, and it is Cincinnati basketball. Dan, I thought it was more from Cincinnati who got a hand on it. You?
They're going to talk about it, and they're certainly going to look at resetting the shot clock because it looked like it might have grazed the rim. Well, that was definitely off Moore. How do you miss that? That was a swipe.
He was the only one coming that direction. Not reviewable currently at 13:21 second half. Cincinnati 61 wins the last 2 years. Cumberland hovering, and a foul goes against Caleb Wesson. That's his 3rd.
I like what I like what Cincinnati did. I do. Cincinnati ran a little curl action for Cumberland, and Cumberland got into the lane where the defender on the big, Wesson, had to help a little bit, and Brooks was able to sneak in there. Mo Bamba.
Yeah. We're not even near the Big 12.
No, but Texas does play Saturday, and they were playing that Mo Bamba song here, and I really like that song. I mean, I like it as much as I can like that song, but
Friday, I believe. Thanks for listening to the promo, though.
Yeah, Friday, Arkansas, Texas. It's going to be great.
Armed Forces Classic. Second one is here. Now, suddenly, it's a little bit danger time, don't you think, for Ohio State? Both Wessons with 3 fouls.
I think it's danger time because of that and who's going to go get a bucket, and then on the defensive end, who's going to go get a rebound. Do you know why I said Mo?
Why is that?
I was going to say Mick, but I said Mo. It was. I'm looking right at him.
That doesn't, what you just said doesn't make it any better. Boy, Johnson's fired up, and the crowd's there with him. Washington, 2 to shoot. He missed it, rebound Cincinnati. Jennifer, Cumberland for 2. Five in a row for Cincinnati, Dan.
Well, it's been started by the defense. You mentioned Johnson all over the basketball and all the time, man. One guy gets going, everybody starts running. A really good play by Jennifer to stop right there at the elbow and find a sprinting Cumberland.
All 6 of Cumberland's points have come in the second half, and the Bearcats are within 11. So what does Chris Holtman say in this huddle?
I think he gets Wesson back in the game. Big Wesson, Caleb Wesson. I think you've got to settle this whole thing down by throwing the ball into the post. Now he's going back in. Had to. You're at 11. You can play him for an offensive possession. Maybe if you get fouled, take him out defensively. You can go a little offense-defense here and steal a couple of minutes, but you need him in the game because your offense is non-existent right now, and Cincinnati is in a pressure mode. Mo Bamba. Here it is.
What an atmosphere.
It's great. In the rebuild, it feels far more intimate. It feels like the students are closer, the sides are closer, the top is closer, which means the sound reverberates. It's great.
Just the 11th meeting overall between the Buckeyes and the Bearcats. They played most recently 6 years ago in the NCAA tournament. And here's some news and notes around the NCAA. Duke is all you got to say right now in college basketball, but the story of Andrew Jones is tremendous as well.
Played 9 minutes yesterday. He had a point, got a standing ovation. It's just a great story that he's out there. And in that Kansas game, couple of things. This kid, Quentin Grimes, is fantastic. He's another freshman. Came in, had 11 early points last night, and looked like he absolutely expected to do that. There was no dramatics. He just made buckets, went down, played defense. Michigan State got beat, but Michigan State is going to be fantastic. Possible Final Four team. They're going to be really, really good as we move forward.
Who's your Final Four?
Well,
on ESPN.com.
I'll take Duke.
Yeah.
I'll give everybody the field. But there has to be 3 more teams. I like Gonzaga. I'm not going to be surprised if Virginia doesn't make a run. And I think Kansas probably get there again.
Yeah. Trey Scott is the conductor of this noise right now. Woods finally locates a teammate in Jackson.
There you go. Great pass fake. You got to get it across.
With a second to spare. Jackson against the freshman Johnson, who's been active defensively. Crowbarred it away. Jennifer to Cumberland. And 2 shots coming.
Transition again, started by the defense. You mentioned it. It's all Johnson. Johnson's getting in the stance, playing harder than anybody on this floor. And tell you what, he's kicking it up, which is kicking up the defense. Or the offense, excuse me.
Well, both. I mean, you want to get playing time from Mick Cronin, you do that stuff.
He has done it in such a way that while he's doing it, he's got the crowd into it. It's noticeable out here, and the crowd is feeling off of that kid's energy right there.
Freshman out of the state of California, Logan Johnson.
His brother Tyler's making a little bit of money with the Heat. Ton.
2 for 2. They can hear the crowd in Kentucky right now. Jennifer, and a foul called against Wesson. That's number 4 for Andre Wesson. Those screens are a big point of emphasis this year.
Yeah, they are. And we're going to see if Wesson gets pushed coming up here. See, he got a little bit of a push, and that's what he was complaining about to the official.
Andre and Caleb Wesson in foul peril right now. 4 for Andre, 3 for Caleb. And for Chris Holtmann, when it was first suggested that he inject some more life into the schedule, into the program through the schedule, his response about playing Cincinnati was, could I just get donuts for the students instead and maybe get some life out of it? And this is why you play in a building like this. He eventually decided to play it, but this is why you don't want to play this game.
No, absolutely no question. This is where Ohio State finds out who replaces guys that were here last year. Now, I will say this. If Bill Eck's going to call that foul, this is what Chris Holtmann is saying. If you're going to call that touch, then you need to start calling them on Johnson and Jennifer on the other end. Now, that's Chris Holtmann was up saying that to Bill Eck, the official. And he's right. You can't call one way and then let the other side go.
That's the 3rd on Musa Jallow.
That's okay. He's not going to be in at the end to shoot free throws anyway. He needs to affect it right here on the defensive end against Cumberland.
Who got by him, and then it was tipped out of bounds by Jallow.
A great play, because you're right. An experienced guy got by him, leaned in with a layup, and Jallow reacted. But it fouls with him doesn't matter. Fouls with Caleb Wesson, Andre Wesson, huge, because he's been very good on both ends.
Yeah, 3 for Caleb, 4 for Andre Wesson, and this lob for Scott wasn't close enough to the rim. With 5 on the shot clock, Cumberland weaving through. Scott was closer than he expected.
He was. He ran in instead of stayed wide, and Kyle Young came up with the loose change.
Jallow rejected at the rim by Scott. Jennifer catch and shoot. Rebound Ohio State and Washington.
Bad shot. Too early. You want to drive it. You got foul trouble. Go to the rim. You can always get a deep 23-foot three. Got to go inside here, don't you?
Wesson back in. Woods left it short. Defense for Johnson. Wesson fills the lane, and they do get it inside off the scramble.
2 great plays by Kyle Young. He came up with the loose ball on defense, and then he came up with the loose ball on offense and went and found a cutting Caleb Wesson.
Hey, Friday, 7 Eastern, 7th Annual Armed Forces Classic, honoring America's heroes. Arkansas, Texas, former Southwest Conference rivals from Fort Bliss Military Base in El Paso. Always a majestic game. You can watch it live on the ESPN app as well. That's 7 Eastern, Friday on ESPN.
Daniel Gafford, remember the name, Arkansas, big kid, first team All-SEC. He's on the top 50 Wooden Watch list. Tremendous, terrific player. And then, of course, Andrew Jones coming back for Texas. Going to be a fun night Friday night.
From the West Texas town of El Paso. Jennifer ducking in and a foul called against Woods. That's his 3rd personal.
Now that matters. because you want Woods' experience, you want Woods' free throw shooting in at the end of the game. Woods just told Chris Holtman, look, I'm good, don't take me out.
You'd imagine he has that prerogative as one of the
Probably.
seniors.
Veteran guy. You trust some, you don't trust others. Probably trust him.
Now they only have 8 guys who played, so big time foul trouble. Oh, Brooks bottled up by Mr. Orange Tim.
Front of the rim jumped. Great pass by Johnson.
Tin Man's supposed to be a good guy.
Yeah.
Johnson feeling his way in. And here comes the freshman Washington for Ohio State.
Washington is in because Ohio State feels he can create offense for himself against this pressure.
High-low. Woods to Wesson. Cumberland draped on him.
There's our guy.
Young, the fellow for 2 and a foul.
That's the advantage of Caleb Wessing holding the ball and pass faking before he does something. The defense gets staring at him. Look at Kyle Young right here. Kyle Young is weak side. The defense is going to stare at the ball right now. And he goes right around it both ways. Actually, defense did a decent job, and Kyle Young changed direction on Johnson. When you get the ball in the post, Jason, you hold it until you're comfortable with the shot that you want. You don't get cute, you don't force. It helps you and it helps your teammates get to the backboard. Clears things out.
Massive.
He's played great. I mean, three possessions in a row, Kyle Young has done what he's in there to do, just make things happen.
That foul goes against Washington. That's his 3rd. So 5 Buckeyes have at least 3 fouls in this game.
This is like a MAC game in the early 2000s, late 90s. Every touch.
Well, Bill Eck was reminiscing about your jacket.
I remember Bill Eck doing that too.
Before the game.
It's not inside out backwards. I wore it backwards. We went on a 6-game win streak. True story.
Johnson from the line, a 1-and-1. Got the first. What prompted you to do that, if I may ask?
We were losing. We had a better team. I decided to turn everything around. Players came to practice. They had to wear their uniforms backwards, their practice gear backwards. Not inside out, backwards. Every person that came into our practice had to turn their clothes backwards. We won 6 in a row, saved the season.
Dan Dockich is crazy. Officially, 2019 happens in the second half of game 1.
True.
12-point game for Ohio State.
They're trying to keep the ball moving up top to isolate right here, but they wanted him isolated on the block. Wesson, it's going to get stolen.
Woods goes after it. He was on the sideline. Turnover, Buckeyes.
Telling you, on this end, Cincinnati, look for Broome.
He hasn't had a shot in a long time.
Nope, he hasn't. And they put him back in because they feel, even though they went on this run, they're still down 12, and they got to get more offense.
1 field goal attempt second half for Kane Broome.
Zone. Middle opposite right now, find Broome.
He's on the right side, the top side. There he is, not in shooting range. Back again. Johnson tees it up.
See, you're good with that. Really good at the top of the zone to shade Broome. Really good.
Shade him how? What do you mean?
Meaning you don't, when the ball goes opposite Broome and you're the top man of the zone on Broome's side, you don't go over into the middle of the lane. You stay man side of the middle of the lane so you can recover to him on the flight of the ball and take away an easy jump shot.
Johnson gets a major round of applause as he comes out for his defensive effort. 1-1 for Woods. Missed the front end. Young the rebound for the Buckeyes. Oh, Woods tried to provide the mortal blow. Williams, front iron. Early threes from Cincinnati.
Early threes by a guy that just came into the game and who is just now going to come out of the game. Well, I like that. They set a little on big screen trying to get Wesson open.
Wesson with 10. And with the whistle, we will step aside. When we come back, Dan will tell you about shading in the zone. He may even draw for you.
Get your pens and paper ready, coaches.
Marcus Childers in Northern Illinois sit atop the MAC West. They're trying to clinch a spot in the title game. We have Maction at the top of the hour. Jason, Dan, back to you.
Love Maction on the football side. Ohio State by 12. Let's take a look at how you shade somebody in the zone.
Well, with the broom kid, Ohio State went to zone. So you're going to see these two guys, man, they are out on the shooter. You've got to know where he is. So the ball is swung, okay, goes to the middle. Now, I want you to watch Washington right here. He's going to fake a little bit. He's going to come in and fake just a little bit. But he's already going back, and his hand is up, and you just want to take away the jump shot. You're not mad about it if Johnson shoots it, but you have responsibility to not let Broom get the shot. So you don't come into the middle and double the big. You shade the big and get back to the shooter.
That's a freshman, by the way, doing that.
Smart. He's a smart player. Well taught as well.
One for two.
Then some missed free throws by Ohio State.
Couple of them recently have left the door creaking open. Cumberland, who's got 8 in the second half. Off the skip to the corner. 4-2, Moore, the sophomore.
Well, Woods recovered to Moore because he's a shooter, really good shooter, and Moore made him pay, went by him, hung in there, got it in.
Double team in the backcourt. Jackson extracted it. Wesson in the corner. Three fouls for Caleb Wesson, working just outside the paint. Jackson lofts it up at the buzzer.
He tried to measure. He tried to measure Scott, but Scott was too close, so he just put a little fade on it.
And that foul goes against Muhammad. Jackson with a bullseye.
Watch how close the defender is. He learned the first time. He's up in him. Look at him. He's all over him, and he just put a little bit of fade to get the shot over. C.J. Jackson makes big shots. Last year, Indiana, ball in the air for the win. He drilled it. He's a clutch kid.
How about that quick trigger, too, by the way?
He gets it off fast. And again, a little bit of a lean back. Got it over the defender.
Big miss for Cumberland.
Huge. You can feel the crowd knew it, too.
Wesson slips in for an easy flush.
That was set up by a double screen away. Woods coming off the double. 3 guys for Cincinnati, first time all day, paid attention to the screener, didn't get in help side, nobody on the backside.
Oh, Cumberland didn't even look on that pass. He was sped up, and a turnover back for Cincinnati. First meeting on campus between these two since 1920. Wesson just ate that one alive, and 13 to shoot. Cumberland on the gas pedal. Out of bounds, and it's going to be Cincinnati basketball. Andre Wesson back in, foul trouble has been pretty stagnant right now for Ohio State. Nothing extra the last couple minutes.
Well, they've made an adjustment where they've gotten a little bit off of the ball. They're not into the ball as tight, and when the drive is made, they've moved their feet much better.
Cumberland with Muhammad on his doorstep.
Wow.
Response is good for Muhammad. The freshman.
Boy, is that big. Muhammad is an emotional guy. He drills a three and just started taunting and got the tee.
That'll be his third personal.
Great drive, kick, tough three by Luther Muhammad. And then you don't really see it, but he taunted the defender. There are some technicals that you teach and let go.
That's one you're saying?
Yeah, just a young kid, excited.
Second one, no good. Cumberland 1 for 2.
All right, there's your three. See, that's not a technical foul.
Yeah, why?
That's not a technical
I'm
foul.
with you.
Just, what are we supposed to do? Wrap people up in saran wrap, not have emotion? Come on, this isn't a February NBA game.
He turned right away, too.
Yeah, that's a nonsense call.
Agree.
It's twice.
Cumberland sticks the three.
Hey, that was deep. Woods didn't know to go that deep. Huge by Cumberland.
Too much of a gap between the defense and Cumberland. C.J. Jackson, the senior, 4-3. Cumberland got a hand on it. Young is right behind him, and he back-tapped it, stopping the break. Cumberland, everything in the second half, all 15.
In the NFL, they call it players, not plays, right? Players make the game. Here goes Cumberland, little fadeaway with a tough defense. And then the second one, this is deep. Like, this is a zone, and Woods really, he's kind of thinking, I'm covering where he's supposed to be, but he's two steps back. Players, not plays, late.
Mick Cronin said when he was recruiting Jaron Cumberland, the bigger the game, the better he played.
You can see it. You can see it. He's big late. Big possums walk late, Jason.
Jennifer, up and under for 2. This feels like a one-possession game, and it's not. Cumberland spooked Wesson. Jackson probing. Woods traveled. The new Fifth Third Arena is volcanic and a 10-point game in its opener.
There's Toledo's Eli Peters getting ready to take on Northern Illinois in some Wednesday night action. You can watch that game over on E! News. Back to you guys.
Molly, thank you. 10-point game here. Ohio State over Cincinnati, but this crowd's been bubbling over the past 5-10 minutes. What does Cincinnati do offensively to come back?
You coach each game. You know, that's what Belichick are the great coaches. So you coach during the game what's happening in the game, okay? Jennifer just went and made a drive. I would look to get the ball into his hands in the middle of the floor. Reason the middle of the floor? Because there is no help side, so it spreads out. I would like to see, if I'm Cincinnati, I want to make Caleb Wesson be in a high ball screen sometime during this possession at the top of the key or higher, and then drive at him and make him guard. the guy that just made the bucket is the guy you go to. And then you hope somebody loses. They're in the zone. You hope right now somebody loses Cumberland. Get it in the middle and look opposite to him. There he is.
He switched sides.
They
Young was right there.
Yeah, they set a screen and Young got around it nice. Now they're shading Cumberland with Young.
Jennifer gave it up to Broom. 9 to shoot. Jennifer pounds it in for Scott.
Do not foul if you're Cincinnati. You have Ohio State on their heels. Don't bail them out with a reach cheap foul here. Make them make a play. Oh, wow.
Wesson shoves it down low, and Scott smacks it in to Kentucky.
2 years they've ran this play, and I've never seen it. I've never seen it stop. He run that out of timeouts every time. First time, great block, Scott.
Ten to shoot. Woods. Wesson for three. He got it!
Oh, he took his time and stepped in. Remember we talked earlier in the game, he was running into him, shooting him quick? That time he took his time, stepped in, and drilled it.
That had disappeared from his game in the second half.
And it should have.
Cumberland the drop off for two inside. This is going to go against Muhammad. That's his fourth.
Yeah, I'm not sure Bill Eck saw it. He saw the reaction by Broom, and it may be a foul.
Now Muhammad is pleading his case.
There was a flop there at the end, and they're going to go look at it. That's a total flop. See, Bill Eck didn't see it. I just happened to be looking on the same line as Bill Eck. He did not see this flop, and he reacted to what happened and then made the call.
So the officials are going to go look to see if it's a flagrant one or a flagrant two, and the question is, if they see the flop, will they reverse here?
Let's see. Do you think it's a flop? I think it's 1,000% a flop. I think if the referees are going to review, they have to review this and say this is a flop. But they won't. Guarantee it.
We'll get the word from Keith Kimball coming over here to the table. What did Keith have to say?
Keith said it's a common foul. I said, no, it's a flop. And he nodded. That's bad officiating. I'm not rooting either way, but that's bad officiating. They touched each other, but you can't get caught unless you 1,000% see that. And I was on the same line as him. He did not see that.
9-point game, 2:15 to go. Cumberland fouled by Woods. Fourth personal against Woods.
I like this move. What Mick Cronin's doing is bringing Johnson back in. Now, Johnson's all hepped up. Remember this. Don't be surprised if Johnson doesn't foul. The referee just called kind of a touch foul down here. Referees will make it up on the other end, and Johnson is going to pressure. Don't be surprised if number 0 doesn't get called right here.
$16 for Cumberland, all in the second half. Second one is there.
It's a good player. It's a tough kid.
Halfway through the shot clock, Jackson. The senior draws the foul.
Told I'm telling you. You tell your team in the huddle, do not settle for a jump shot.
That's it on Brooks.
Doesn't matter what you think. That's going to be called in this situation because of what happened down on the other end. Just is.
That's 5 on Brooks.
I didn't think that was a foul.
You didn't?
No, I thought, okay, their bodies touched.
Kind of hip to hip.
Yeah, they're going hip to hip and your hands are up. That's part of playing.
No good for Jackson. Every Ohio State missed free throw in the game has come in the second half.
I'm going to Cumberland. I'm spreading it, driving it towards Broome if I can, but Cumberland's got to get a touch here with some space.
Here he is on Wesson. Cumberland pull up for 2.
Smart.
6-point game.
He didn't want the ball screen. He just wanted it to be he against Wesson. Can't foul, I'm telling you.
This one into traffic. Intercepted by Moore. No good on the jumper. Tap back by Cincinnati.
They got to slow it down just a little.
Jennifer, who got a hand on the rebound, hustles it, and the rebound for Ohio State. A foul called against Cincinnati.
Fans get excited, players get excited. Got the ball back, hustled it down, and you could just tell that Jennifer was too hepped up to go make a play, and then you bail a team out that's reeling by fouling.
You think so?
No.
I don't either. Wesson missed the first, he'll get a second.
Ball nose. Huge free throw here. Get it off a 2-possession game.
Got it.
I'm getting Cumberland. I don't need a ball screen. I just need to drive. He'll go to the line or get a bucket or both.
Jennifer the lob. Back out Cumberland. 4-3. He got it. First time on campus since 1920 in this series, and it's down to the final minute, Molly.
Well, here's just a reminder, guys. The Northern Illinois Huskies hosting the Toledo Rockets in a tough battle between the best teams in the MAC West. The Huskies hoping to keep their perfect conference record alive. That game's starting over on ESPN News. Jason, Dan, back to you.
Feels different, doesn't it?
It's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
This is day one of their season.
Day one of our season. Love it. It's awesome. It's so great. When you get the really rich guys in the front row doing the cheers, that's a big environment.
All 22 for Cumberland have come in the second half. It's a 4-point game. Jennifer a nat on Wesson.
Gotta go. Got him going backwards.
2 seconds. Into the front court, Jackson. You foul here?
No. But you keep your man in front and you rebound and go. I wouldn't want a ball screen. I would just let him go at the end of this clock because I don't want to trap.
Jackson with 4. Jackson stalking.
Oh,
off the window for two.
They got the ball screen, and Jackson used the threes that he's hit over Scott to bring him out and went right by him.
Scott got caught in between with Moore. Now Moore on the gas pedal to the rim, and it knocked away. And it's Ohio State basketball with a foul against Johnson. 10 seconds to go. And we asked who was going to be the big man on the road with Bates, Diop et al. Gone. C.J. Jackson is the answer.
I'm telling you, no surprise. This kid is clutch. He got the switch that he wanted. He drew Scott out and went right by him to his right and hit a tough shot. I'm telling you, in a coaching life, there are two great days. The birth of a child and road wins. And there is no better feeling in coaching than what Chris Holtman and his staff feel right now. I know they're up 6. They feel better now. Two best days in coaching. Birth of a child and a road win. And that can go the other way if it's a really big road win.
Doesn't speak a whole lot to the sanctity of marriage.
I'm just telling you. That's how coaches think, man, a road win. This is a great road win for Ohio State, assuming they get it. And not a terrible loss for Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to be really good.
Whale of a comeback effort for the Bearcats. The birth of their new Fifth Third Arena. Cumberland one more. No dice. Rebound for Young. And Ohio State deals with the pressure of Cincinnati to win 64-56. For Dan, I'm Jason, our entire crew. College football primetime, Toledo, Northern Illinois. Out to DeKalb with you after a dandy here in the Queen City.